Hello everyone, my name's Kim and I'm the Stash Stitcher. I hope you're all really well and are having a lovely day. This week in my sewing room I have been working on another B6747 which I've got on, and a few weeks back I did a bit of a batch cutting session and I cut quite a few of these shirts out, and thankfully this is the last one. Now I say thankfully because I have made a few of these and I'm over it now. I want to move on to something else. But this is just a little bit different because I have made this in a solidish colour. It's a two-toned colour. The fabric name is it's a holographic two-tone fabric. It's got a red and a blue, and as you move around it can look a bit purpley, so it's quite a unique fabric, and I've had it in my stash for a very long time, so I'm glad that I've managed to get this shirt out of it. So here is my last B6747. So as before, we've got two plain front panels with a fold over placket, nice and simple, with a collar stand and collar, a one-piece back, so there's no back yoke, straightforward sleeve, not much gathering in the sleeve cap, and it has a fold over cuff, and I have put in some beautiful red buttons with this little diamante detail in them. Okay, so that is my last B6747. So I finished my shirt, and the next step was to actually find the appropriate buttons to go with this unique fabric. So I had quite a lot of choice actually. It could either have a red button, blue button, purple button, it could be a grey button, a chrome button. So there was a huge amount of choice, and buttons, especially on something in a solid colour, can really change the look of it. So I just wanted to get it right. So I got all of my buttons out, and when I was laying all of my buttons on this fabric, I thought, God, you know, this video would be an ideal opportunity for me to show you how I organise my buttons in such a way that it just makes it easy for me to find a button that suits my fabric so I can then finish my garment. So my button stash. So first of all, I have a box like this. We've all probably got boxes like this which are full of just one-off buttons. I mean, in here I have beautiful heart buttons, just one of these. It'd probably look really nice on a cardigan or a jacket where one button is needed, so that sits in there. I've got some really big coat buttons, big black coat buttons, and a little bag here of these teeny tiny buttons that I use on the lunar lapping clothes that I make for the lunar dolls. Just random buttons, nothing special, but we all have a box like this. But my main button stash I have organised in such a way that it just makes it easy for me to see what I have. And like, for instance, when I was trying to pick a button for this shirt, because I had so many choices, I wanted to be able to go to each of the particular colours to see whether one of those buttons really sort of hit the spot. So my buttons are all held on safety pins. So I saw this technique shown by a YouTuber quite a number of years ago, and I sort of took it on board because I thought it was such a great idea, and I've just carried on doing it for quite a while, and I've also added an additional element to it to help me if I ever wanted to reorder any of these buttons. So I'll go through my string of buttons, and it's quite long, and basically I put it into some sort of colour order. So I started off with sort of clear buttons. So you've got these sort of clear diamante buttons here, and then we go on to the white buttons, which then lead on to yellow buttons, orange buttons, brown buttons, pink buttons, red buttons, burgundy, purple, blue, lots of blue buttons, and then we come on to the sort of fading into the green buttons and the grey buttons, chrome buttons and black buttons. So I've got this really lovely string of all of these different colours, and visually you can see colour straight away. So when I was trying to pick a button for this fabric, all I really did was just get my string of buttons and I would just lay any particular button directly onto the fabric to see what it looked like. And I did particularly like the red one, but I wasn't too sure about it, so I went online and I bought some other buttons. So I bought some of these because I thought these would go quite nice with this shirt as well, and for some reason I bought some of these because I thought they would go, but when they turned up they were definitely not the right colour. So I thought what I would show you, because the new buttons have come in, I'm going to put them on my string of buttons, and there's a certain thing that I like to do. So in my box of safety pins, so these safety pins are 2 inches long. So I've got my open safety pin, and on a little post-it note I put a number. So this is number 31, and I've only been doing this really for the last couple of years. So I give that button a number, so that this button here is button number 31. So then I load the safety pin up with the buttons, because I've got quite a few of these. If it becomes quite full, then I would then just put another safety pin on top. So the little round thing here, I put through the pin, close that pin up, and then that's loaded. So there's all those buttons that I have just bought, and they are buttons number 31. So on the invoice that I got from the company where I bought these buttons, Totally Buttons, these are the 2 sets of buttons I bought. So on my invoice I will put that is button number 31, and this small little teal button will be button number 32. So I just get another little bit of post-it note that I've cut out, so that's number 32, and I will do the same. So I just literally put a hole through the post-it note, and I will load up that safety pin with those teal buttons in exactly the same way as I did the blue ones. And then once I have these blue buttons all on their safety pin, I'll then go and find the appropriate coloured section, and so I think they would look quite good, maybe there, doesn't have to be precise, maybe there. And then all I would do is just open up the pin, pull it out, separate it I should say, and then I literally just put the circle of one of the pins onto the pointy pin, and then open up the second safety pin and then put that through the circle of the other pin, and it just joins them together. And I will do the same with the teal one. Now the reason why I number them, and I only really started doing this recently, is because sometimes when I run out of a certain button and I really like them, I think I will probably use them again. I like the idea of being able to reorder them. So what I did do is I pulled out this invoice here. So this invoice here is dated June 2021, and the buttons on here are, and what I do sometimes is I actually just hide my address, bear with me. So what I do is sometimes I draw a little picture of the button. I'm not any great artist, but it gives me an idea of what the button actually looks like. So I know that this button here, so it's got a number. So if I just show you, so I'll just open up her pin. So this button here, for instance, was bought in June 2021. The invoice actually has a reference number to it, and I went on to the site this morning to see whether it was still available using that reference number, and they still have these buttons in stock. So I know that just by just giving it a little number, it directs me to the invoice. I can see then the code for it and the company that I bought it from, and that then will allow me to go and search that company and that code and see whether that button is still available, which is quite nice, because when I buy buttons, I usually buy buttons in sets of 15. So this shirt has used 10 buttons, so I have 5 buttons left, and sometimes it's just not enough to finish something, and I wouldn't have to go and either sort of put them aside or go and find them. And with my system, I can go and find them and see whether they are still available. And considering that that button is still available, and that was nearly, well, that's about 3.5 years ago, that's quite nice to think that, you know, obviously these button suppliers, they hold on to their stocks for a long time. They get, you know, hundreds if not thousands of these buttons in at a time, so they're going to hold that button in stock for a very long time. And if I didn't have the invoice, or I didn't number in the way that I do, I would have no way of knowing whether I could, you know, source those buttons again. So I just think for me, because I like to use, because I have some nice unique buttons and I like to use them, I generally have used them quite a lot, that this works really well for me. And you can see quite a few of these buttons have numbers on them, and I'm able to find them again if I need to. Sadly, not all of them are still out there, but it just means I have the option to find them if I need to. I did look this morning to see whether I could find one of these green buttons that I absolutely love. Let me see if I can find it. Ah, there it is. So I used these little green buttons. They're square and they're really beautiful, and I only have 3 of them left, and I used them on a shirt a while back, a Tula Pink fabric shirt that I made, and I would really like to get some more of those, so I will probably watch out for those. But you know, this is how I store my buttons, and it works really well for me. And I just literally hang that on the wall. So I have it on the wall, so I can just reach over and get it as and when I need it. And I can just literally lay it across my fabric and see what works. And for me, this has worked really well, and it just keeps them really tidy. You can see how many you've got at any one particular time. I just love it. I just love my string of buttons, and they're just so easy to find. So that is my button organisation. So hopefully you like that, and give us a thumbs up if you do, and let us know what you think. So my sewing plans going forward are basic. I'm still working on the Queen of Diamonds quilt. I've done a little bit. I'm really taking my time with that project, because all of the little corner diamonds have to be cut at a certain angle. I'm really taking my time with that because I really don't want to mess that quilt up. So I've worked a little bit on it this week. My husband is getting better. The progress he made was really good at the beginning of the week, but he had a little bit of a relapse. So I have slowed it down a bit because I'm obviously concerned about him and still making sure that he's okay. And the other thing I want to really get stuck into is all of the Seaforth pants that I have cut out. And I have quite a few pairs of those cut out, and I really want to get stuck into those this week because I have all of these beautiful shirts made up, and now I need some trousers to go with them. So those will be my projects going forward. So you will see some of those making an appearance. So hopefully you've enjoyed the content today, and if you have, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, it'd be lovely if you could. But I will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye.